Halavai 1, just getting to meet everybody and just learning more about yourself with the DISC scores. I felt like that really helped all of us just because just learning more about yourself and just kind of your strengths and your weaknesses.
I grew up in a pineapple family. My dad worked for a really long time for Maui Land and Pineapple Company. And it was a really special experience to go up to Hali'imaile and visit with the new owners of Maui Gold, who are now ensuring that pineapple cultivation continues on Maui, albeit in a much scaled down form. But pineapple is an important part of our history and our culture here, and we want to be able to eat Maui Gold forever because it's delicious.
There was a moment during our Halavai where we were touring Pau Vodka, which is under new ownership, and we had the opportunity to get into a tour van and drive around the pineapple fields and then go back to the tasting room and meet all of the employees and the founder and have a talk story after walking through the distillery. And I remember asking a question about climate change and if it was part of their long-term plan. And he's like, now it is. So it was very empowering as a fellow to be able to ask a question that mattered to me and have it be a platform to have this larger conversation and hopefully see some really good change for everyone. And I appreciated having someone in a position of leadership and power be so receptive, and I felt really honored and excited to go back and visit them again.
We saw firsthand what it took to run and maintain an as-available power generation company here in the island.
At the end of the Energy Halavai, we got to sit and learn more about Maui Oil Company, the last family-owned oil company here in Hawaii, and Pacific Biodiesel, and some of their challenges and their opportunities. And I never knew that all of our gas comes off one barge and it's pretty much the same everywhere you go. The only thing that's different are the additives that are added in. So that was interesting to learn that no matter what gas station you go to, it all comes from the same place.
Ekolu Lindsay and his mom Pua took our group up Kaheava Wind Power Plant, where we got to take care of native plants and learn about the history of that place. So getting to hear their perspectives on how do we balance a need for renewable energy on Maui with a desire to perpetuate Native Hawaiian culture was really eye-opening for me.
Being a father of two, knowing that one day my children are going to hopefully move out at a reasonable age, and I want them to be able to support themselves, to be able to not only be able to support themselves, but enjoy being on Maui so that they stay on Maui.
During the housing and planning Halavai, we got the opportunity to do a mock Maui County Council meeting, and it was for a 208-1H housing project, and we had to decide whether we were going to approve the application or not. And for our fellows, they got a first-hand experience as to what it really takes to make a housing program come to life. There's tons of paperwork that has to be vetted, and then of course there's all the studies like traffic and noise, just so that we make sure that it fits into the place that they're planning to have it.
Another Halavai that was interesting for me and was really out of my wheelhouse in terms of knowledge was the planning Halavai. That one was a little overwhelming for me at first because there were so many new terms and it was just something I had not thought about before, but I'm realizing how much affordable housing and planning is going to be a major challenge for Maui moving forward. So I think it's interconnected in so many ways to other Halavai and just our whole quality of life on Maui. So I'm grateful to have had that planning Halavai.
One of my favorite halavai was Project Weekend. It gave us the opportunity to pitch, develop, and present an idea that would solve a need in the Maui community. Working in groups over the course of 2 very intense days, we had a crash course in how to flesh out an idea, put a cohesive plan together, and build support for a community-based project. In fact, some of us are continuing to pursue our idea of creating orchards in public parks across Maui. As citizens of Maui Nui, we have a responsibility for maintaining our island home in a way that is beneficial not only for our own children, but for future generations of children to come. Project Weekend gave us the confidence and the tools to do just that.
Project Weekend was one of those experiences that are tough when you're in it, but when you look back on it, it's, you know, you wouldn't have changed it. You almost want to do it again. Maybe knowing what we know now, do it again so we can be a little more prepared. But we had the best team. We should have won. You can edit that out. No, Project Weekend, one major thing it did for me that I was able to immediately apply with work is developing a pitch, like a well-rounded pitch. You know, working at the luau, it's been established for 30 years, and so new ideas really need to be well thought through and presented in the right way to even be thought of. So that, along with just seeing all the difficulties that come along with community projects or entrepreneurs, the challenges they face in trying to develop something from the ground up, and how often your ideas pivot based on your feedback from others.
So our project was called Hoku Points. Hoku Points is a website that connects volunteers with nonprofit organizations and has a points or reward component to it. My biggest takeaway from Project Weekend was getting to collaborate with everyone and using each of our strengths in order to create a successful project. So if any of you out there want to ever create your own business, MEDB is a great resource, and I encourage you to utilize them in the future.
On our halavai to Molokai, we visited several successful farms, including Kumu Farm's papaya orchard, and my favorite were Russell and Lynn DeCoit's sweet potato farm, where they are still farming side by side with their sons and really putting their heart and soul into innovating, being successful in this modern day. Molokai, I'm very hopeful for the future, along with Maui Nui, with incredible farmers like these folks working hard.
So on our visit to Molokai, we got to check out CTAR and all the wonderful projects that they're doing, studying different varieties of kalo. I think they said they have the biggest study of kalo, or the kalo, they call it a library. They also have these wonderful community plots that were actually being manned at the time, and these kids, they were carrying these huge squashes like that came right out of there, and they were weighing them, and like it was like the same size as the kid, and you couldn't stop smiling because you saw this kid smile from ear to ear, you know, seeing the gratification that, of just being able to grow something. I feel like it was so empowering to them and the rest of the community. I'm excited to see what else they do. Also in Molokai, we got to hear about the Department of Hawaiian Homeland and all the different assets and the services that they provide for Native Hawaiians. They also maintain a water source. They have a cemetery. They have one of the newer community centers where they host all of the island's community events. One of the things that I also liked about our trip to Molokai was our visit to Bayer. And I learned that they're right now the biggest agricultural project here in Hawaii. And I was really blown away by how in-depth they are in taking care of the environment and native species. So we got to visit their pollinator village, I want to call it, and basically it's to help grow and take care of the pollinators on the island, the bees.
After a halavai on the island of Molokai, I value local agriculture a lot more, especially being from the island of the Nai, where we depend a lot on our outside resources to be imported.
It was interesting doing the Molokai one and being there and seeing how the community is divided and they don't know where they want to go or where they want to get to, and they can't have an agreement to get there. And one thing I wish about that one is we had more time with Molokai Ranch. That was pretty amazing, what it was, what it is, and what it potentially will be, and how it's a key factor in potentially bringing Molokai out of the economic downfall that it's in and letting everybody become independent rather than dependent on the government. When we went to Oahu and we got to meet the senators and Congress people of the state and got to interact one-on-one with them, got to see how bills started, how they were passed. We got introduced in the House of Representatives and in the Senate. It was an unbelievable experience. Actually being involved and witnessing how things work at a state level is unbelievable. It's motivating and discouraging all at the same time.
One of the most memorable things about Ka Ipu Kukui is when we're on Oahu talking with all the CEOs, the First Hawaiian Bank and Hawaiian Airlines and A&B, and how difficult their balance of work and life is for them, and they continue to struggle with it. That was kind of one of my biggest takeaways from that halavai, and knowing that that is such a huge issue that people do have to deal with, especially being as leaders of such big and reputable companies.
Ko'olave, by far for me, was just a lifetime experience. I think talking with my family that's been on Maui their whole lives and friends that I've met through work and everything else, not everyone's had the experience or the opportunity to go over there and experience what it's like firsthand to really try and rehabilitate the land, and also just being able to learn the history of what it was used for before European contact, and then also how the Navy went in and had to clean up their act.
I was especially moved by our halavai on Koho'olave, where every fellow who participated, several board members, and Lori, each planted, I think it was 1,900 native species. We all got our hands dirty and chose to believe in a future where all of these plants are actually going to survive and thrive on Koho'olave. I was especially inspired to see how creative and resourceful the Koho'olave Island Reserve Commission was in addressing really severe drought conditions. There were plates stuck in the ground, there were rocks rolled in bags, and we would drive by all of these different experimental sites asking Paul, what's going on? He was like, oh, these plates were donated and we thought we would try this and that. So it's a combination of science, using the resources that you have, and community volunteerism and effort. And it was really exciting to see that a lot of native species are coming back in that eroded condition.
Another good halavai was Koho'olave, which I really enjoyed because we all worked together as one unit. I went out and put out the plants. Other guys went out, drilled holes. Other people went out, planted plants. We all worked together in unison, and we got it done.
And one of my top 10 halavais was the water halavai. And I really appreciated this halavai because it was so deceptively simple, but yet incredibly complex. Just the whole water rights on Maui, water usage, what are we gonna do with Maui water in the future, and who owns water? It's way, way more complex than what we think. As a citizen, I take for granted that water comes into my home every day, that I can just flush my toilet very easily, and I don't have to think about it. It goes away. But what's the difficulty there is, well, I don't have to think about how much I use because it doesn't come in the form of a bill. I think Maui County has pretty reasonably priced low water rates, and that's a big deal. If you're not paying a lot of money for your water, most of the time people aren't gonna be conscientious about how much water they're really using, and that's an issue, especially as we plan for the future. There are people in Kula and different parts of the island who want to own a home, and housing, as you know, is a really big issue. But if they can't get water, then we can't build homes. Then we can't have people living in homes. So it's really complex and interrelated. The other thing that the halavai on water really brought to my attention is the issue with the wastewater treatment plant in Lahaina, who's being sued because of the way that it's being recycled and turned into the water. And I totally am an environmentalist at heart, and I completely want to save the planet. And I appreciate having clean water. And I really appreciate having a toilet that flushes. And if we were to even change the current wastewater treatment plant so that it is not polluting the ocean, that's millions of billions of dollars that I will also be paying for. So in the water halavai issue, or the water halavai, I think what I also learned is I am a part of the issue whether I want to be or not. It's really just as a part of being a good Maui citizen.
Everywhere we went, they talked about how it was important to recharge our aquifers, take care of our watersheds. And I feel like people here on Maui and throughout Hawaii, they don't realize how important that really, really is. And so whenever I see in the county budget or the state budget money for conservation, I feel like it's so important to make sure those programs are funded because that's where the water comes from. At the end of that halavai, we visited the wastewater treatment in Lahaina, and we got to see firsthand, after you flush the toilet, what happens. And in Lahaina, it gets treated 3 times, the last with a UV treatment, versus Oahu, where they get 1 treatment and then they shoot that water out 3 miles in front of Barber's Point where everyone's surfing.
For the halavai on healthcare, we had the great fortune of spending almost an entire day with Wesley Lowe. He is the director of Hale Makua, and he spent quite a bit of time describing to us the silver tsunami that is coming. If you are not aware of the silver tsunami, it's a big deal. Currently, the number of people who are 80 years and older is at its lowest. In the next 20 to 40 years, that number is going to increase significantly. And as a community, we're going to need to figure out how to take care of our kupuna, keep them safe, keep them well fed, get them the proper health care, ensure that they receive the kind of attention and socialization needed to continue to live happy, long lives into their later years. But it's going to be a real issue for us that we're going to need to figure out very soon.
I realized that what I do at Hui No'eau in the visual arts is really also contributing to healthcare. And while I had thought a little bit about that in the past, I hadn't really put it in terms of the social determinants of health, which was a concept that we learned about during that halavai. So I think I'm feeling really re-inspired in arts education and providing arts to the community because I'm looking at it as a way of caring for our overall well-being and our overall health. And that was something I hadn't quite looked at in that way before.
I think what most struck me was when we were speaking with Wes Lowe. He was very passionate about increasing access for senior housing. One of the key issues he sees is that as we have baby boomers growing into retirement and staying in their homes, this takes up housing that could be available for younger families. But the key issue here and how it relates to healthcare is that when you have too many people living in one house, it really causes ill health just by the sheer compact density of it. And so one way that he thinks we can help improve Maui County's health is by allowing or increasing access for senior residential homes, thereby freeing up houses for younger families. And it doesn't really seem like how can this be important for healthcare, but If you're living too close to other people, that really uses up your resources. It uses up your energy, it uses up your time, maybe your sleep gets impacted, and maybe your food choices are not as great.
We're here on the island of the Nai for our last halavai together before we graduate, and we're learning a lot about what's going on in the community and what Palama is in charge of doing. I work for the Department of Natural Resources, and right now our main project is protecting our watershed, taking care of our native and endangered seabirds, our native endangered snails that we have on island. We have a snail jail up in the Nai Hale right now. It's kind of like an enclosed, fenced-in area where we put in all their native endangered snails inside, and we try to protect it from predators such as rats, African snails, and all other invasive species.
We're on Lanai right now, and it's been an unbelievable halavai to see where this island is, and you hear the perspectives of people of this is just the land of the billionaires and this and that, and you come here and it's the complete opposite of that. This island is amazing. It's probably one of the cleanest islands I've seen. The future is nothing but like positive things of keeping the Hawaiian culture, renewing it, renewable energy, food sources, making it not dependent on cargo, and being self-sufficient, self-sustainable. I think they have 98% employment rate. They don't have people on welfare. They don't have this downfall that a very similar island has, and they attribute it to a wealthy person that is able to pump money into it and create jobs and have that, you know, economy and capitalistic growth that it needs for everybody to grow and be successful and live in paradise.
Ka Ipu Kukui was very humbling for me because I had to accept responsibility for the role that I play and the things that bug me. If I am in traffic in Makawao, in my car driving, I'm a part of the traffic that is bothering me. And if I one day want to buy and own a home on Maui because this is where I was born and raised and I love and care for this place, won't I be a benefactor of the development that so scares me when I think about Maui getting really developed? So yeah, I play a role in the things that frighten me and frustrate me. I also play a very proud role in taking care of Maui Nui through my work with the Nature Conservancy and in addressing these really complicated issues of what the future is going to look like. I ask that conservation of our resources, Hawaiian culture, and especially the ocean are a part of every conversation because everything that happens on this island somehow impacts the ocean and therefore impacts all of us.
My name is Sean Peterson. I work with Island Sotheby's International Realty, and I am from Maui, Hawaii. Ka Ipu Kukui has been an experience that I never knew existed, I never saw coming, and is something that if I could do it again, I would love to do again. Each month we have a different halavai that gives me more knowledge of things that are very important to me and very useful in what I do.
Yeah, I think some people at my job were questioning what being a part of Ka Ipu Kukui would contribute to my, what I bring to the table. And I've been able to meet an incredible amount of people that are motivated, focused, and it's done those exact things for me. It's motivated me and helped me focus on my values and how to move forward, learning how a bill, is started and finished. It's not a process I was completely familiar with, but just so many things I'm going to take away, and it's hard to pinpoint what's going to be able to apply to my work.
My name is Ho'opiliane. I'm a farmer out here in Waikuku, and I guess the best thing that I can say I've taken away that I really appreciated the Ka Ipu Kukui program is the fact that we're able to get an insider look and the different sides of a situation and really be able to have the information to formulate our own opinions or see what's going on instead of just hearing what's out there and really being able to get to the kind of core of the issues.
Aloha, I am Sherman Baisa and I am water. I'm with the water department, but I'm also a part of Ka Ipu Kukui, which is one of the most outstanding programs that I've ever participated in.
My name is Grizel Caceres. I'm from the island of Lanai and I work for Pulama Lanai under the Department of Natural Resources as a wildlife specialist. My journey with Ka Ipu Kukui has been such a wonderful learning experience. Throughout this journey, I've been introduced to the many different challenges Maui Nui faces, such as affordable housing, water, energy, and many more. Different speakers with different perspectives on these challenges have helped me to kind of envision what our future should be for the generations to come.
Ka Ipu Kukui has been such a life-changing experience for me. It has been so eye-opening, and the things that I was able to learn and take away from it that ordinary citizens here in Maui County would never ever get to find out or know. And then it really just gives you all the different points on the compass. So seeing everyone's point of view and everyone's different side really helps you make an informed decision as a citizen and as a future leader, which is really my biggest takeaway from this whole program. Also the connections that you make, being able to see all these other future leaders and kind of discuss the problems and how it affects me and how it affects them. And of course, you're always going to have different opinions, and coming together and working toward a common goal is huge. It's always something that is a struggle here on Maui County because you're of course not going to please everyone, but making sure that it's the best decision for Maui County. And that's what this program allows you to do and gives you really in-depth and great insight on all the great and wonderful things Maui County has to offer.
Hello, my name is Robert Bennett. I live on the island of Lanai and I work for Pulama Lanai in the IT department as the systems administrator. This journey that we went on, which is Ka Ipu Kukui, is invaluable to the leadership skills that Maui Nui needs for the future.
My name is Lopaka White. I work for the Kaho'olawe Island Reserve Commission as their maintenance and vessel operations guy. What I liked about the Ka Ipu Kukui program, it gave us a chance to explore a lot of the different facets surrounding the Hawaiian community, which also exposes us to a lot of the different issues that surround our Hawaiian community, and be able to take a look at them in depth from many different sides. And you kind of realize that, you know, there's never really a simple solution. It's always give and take, and it's so easy to complain about stuff, but it's a lot harder to provide an actual solution to the problem. And this gives us the exposure to that, even the process in being an active citizen in government, and a lot of tools for the future.
My name's Gabe Lucy. I'm the president at Trilogy Excursions, also Lanai Ocean Sports and Lanai City Service. Lived on Maui for about 12 years. And in those 12 years, I've got to see a lot of the island, but not until this program. And so this program actually allowed me to get outside of the office and start to see a lot of the places that, you know, I've seen before and I was driving by, but I didn't actually really get to, you know, experience it.
Hi, my name is Samalu Mataafa, and I'm an executive assistant for the Department of Management in the County of Maui. I think that the Ka Ipu Kukui Fellowship Program would be very beneficial to a lot of young leaders on Maui. Throughout the program, we got to go through and see a lot of the behind-the-scenes happenings that are going on throughout the communities and throughout different industries on Maui. And I think if you're a young person and you're trying to make it on Maui and Maui Nui, I think that perspective is really important, and I think you guys will benefit a lot from it.
Hi, my name is Leonardo Lunario. I'm a planning engineer for Maui Electric. What I really liked about the Ka Ipu Kukui Fellowship Program was really the hands-on experience through the decision-making process here in Maui. Part of me joining the program was because I have two girls, a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, who I love very dearly.
Hi, I'm Lauren Armstrong. I'm Executive Director of Maui Metropolitan Planning Organization. One of my favorite things about the Ka Ipu Kukui program was getting to connect personally with leaders who exemplify the aloha spirit.
My name is Jody Arisumi, and I'm currently the Human Resources Manager for Maui Oil Company. So what I took away from Ka Ipu Kukui is the fact that we all can make a difference. And I think each of us in our own way, whether it's small or big, have the opportunity to do something for our Maui community, because that seems to be everything that connects us together, is that we have our Maui County that we all love. So it's each of our responsibilities to do something and not just be a critic in order to make our community the place that we want it to be in the future.
So one of my top takeaways from being a Ka Ipu Kukui Fellow is how we're not alone. It can just be one person who makes a difference, but that one person is supported by countless other people. So it's really more than one person. It's really a group of people coming together to make a difference and to change. And what Maui County really needs are people who are open-minded, who can collaborate, who can understand and listen to what the other side has to say, and understand and appreciate that there are multiple sides to every story and there are multiple sides to every issue.
Hi, I'm Lana Coriel, and I'm the Program Director at Hui no Eao Visual Arts Center. What I really loved about Ka Ipu Kukui is that it brought me close to a group of young leaders that I might not have met otherwise. And the connections that I made are really valuable to me in my personal life and in my professional life. And I'm looking forward to seeing what this group of individuals can do together moving forward. I also really learned a lot about myself through Ka Ipu Kukui. When we did Project Weekend, it was so challenging for me in a lot of ways, but I realized some skills that I didn't really know that I had, and all that I can accomplish when I really set my mind to something and work with a great group of other leaders, and how delegating and being flexible is really important to making a project come together. So the challenge was great, but I was able to rise to the occasion with a great group working with me. So I think that showed me moving forward all that I can continue to do on a larger scale.
Aloha, my name is Daryl Fujiwara, and I am the owner and design principal of Smythe Fujiwara Design. I didn't want to join the Ka Ipu Kukui Fellows. Since its inception, the fellows have year after year come to headhunt me, and I always felt like I knew everything already and that I didn't need, like, I could teach the class, is basically what I used to tell people. And then a very persuasive fellow came to me last year and invited me to come and made me an offer I couldn't refuse. And I'm very grateful to him and to everyone that's been a part of this experience. If you think you know, you definitely don't, and you should definitely join this program. If you're an emerging leader, if you're a current leader, I highly encourage you to join the Ka Ipu Kukui Fellows.
My name is Christina Schenk, and this is Everett. I am the Vice President and Controller for Merriman's Restaurants. I found out I was pregnant just a couple of days before the first halavai. When you are literally growing the next generation in your belly, it gives you a different perspective on the Ka Ipu Kukui program. But the very best part of the program is getting to know all of these other really smart, engaged, kind, thoughtful people. I'm not sure how many alumni there now are in the fellowship program, but probably well north of 150. And this is a powerful group of people who really have an opportunity to come together and do great things for our community. And so I would say that the best thing about becoming a fellow is getting to know all the other fellows.
If somebody was interested in getting into Ka Ipu Kukui, I would ask them if they want to be in the know, if they want to know what's really going on in Maui, if they want to know how things really work in Maui, if they want to know how things really become the way they are in Maui, and if they want to see where Maui is headed, then Ka Ipu Kukui is definitely the program for them.
I think just, more education and to get especially youth and young people interested, you
you have to keep them interested in it. You can't be boring them or tell them, sit down in the chair and listen to what I have to say. They have to experience it, you know, they have to have a hands-on education, and I think it'll just stick with them longer.
Well, for me, I came to Ka Ipu Kukui at a point in my career where I was feeling like I wanted to reinvest in the community and I wanted to reach out and learn more. And I think that that's a really key moment in your life to come to Ka Ipu Kukui, because you're learning so much about your community and you're meeting so many wonderful leaders, young leaders that are part of your cohort and more experienced leaders that are out in the community. So if you're at a point in your life or your career where you're wanting to do more, that's the ideal time to join Ka Ipu Kukui.
Ka Ipu Kukui is the bomb.
I was really grateful to be reminded that leadership isn't just about being the loudest or boldest or best spoken person. Quiet listeners, people who observe and are brave enough to follow a crazy idea that someone else has is also leadership. So I encourage anyone who has that kernel within them that has kuleana, that has a sense of responsibility and is ready for responsibility, because once you know, then you need to do something about it. So anyone who has that desire to play an important role in the future of Maui Nui as a team, I would encourage them to join this experience because it gets the ball rolling and it rolls quick.